All right, let's get it. Welcome to the New Age. How you feeling today?
Pretty good.
All right.
New week, new expectations.
This is Datwan. This is LJ. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. I got to have some fun, a little bit of fun. You know, lay my head down a little bit.
Okay.
What about yours?
That's what I'm about to get into. Listen, this is why I'm an investor, and I shouldn't be a gambler. if my voice sounds a little crazy, it was a long weekend for me. Let's just say I need to stick to investing and stay away from gambling. And we'll leave it at that. So, Friday, we talked about the Jerome Powell meeting that was going to happen. And it was sounding the alarm. We was pulling our heads out. It was panic time. And then everything was okay. Jerome Powell said, relax. He gave us the Aaron Rodgers. Relax. So, what was your take on the Jerome Powell conference and your take moving forward as after his conference?
You know, it's interesting. The market responded really well. Surprising to me, you know, if I'm honest. It surprised me how well the market responded. And even Fox Business just released an article about 46 minutes ago stating that the stock market is prepared to open higher, you know, in light of the surge on Friday. It's got a smile on my face, I tell you that much.
So with Jerome Powell saved us from doomsday. I've been saying this for a couple lives now. I think when the Fed starts to lift their hands off the market, I think that's when doomsday comes. Let's get into this week. We have some headlines this week, starting with Apple. I think in this article, they're starting to set up for a new CEO. So they're preparing for Tim Cook to leave. I think he's been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think they're saying he may step down after the augmented glasses. So what's your take on Apple and the new CEO? Maybe coming.
I think Apple is well prepared and well positioned. You know, this may sound funny. I think that they're so strong that it doesn't matter who comes in and is handed the baton to take them into the next phase and stage of innovation in their company. And I say that because they're so strong. And I think that they do and have done an excellent job in their preparation since the founder. You know, I think their culture, what he's ingrained in that culture, is impeccable.
Yeah.
So I see, you know, by the way, I am invested in the Apple, but I see great things in Apple's future.
As far as you just say you're investing in Apple, how has your investment been so far? Do you think it's still playing out the way you expect it to be? Because you're trading that, or are you a long-term investor in that?
I'm trading it, but I think I will convert it over to long-term shares, similar to what you did with or exactly what you did with AMC.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's going steady. Right. I told you I learned some things from my approach from last year, not just with Apple, but with the stock market. And, you know, we talk about patience, not getting in stocks in a 3-month window. So Apple and Tesla alike, but specifically Apple. I learned that with Apple, you got to play them, you know, for 6 months to a year, if not longer. You know, so that's the approach I took with this specific strategy in play. And it's been playing out steady. I'm above my break-even point.
Oh, that's good.
Good. But I do expect it to jump within this coming month and leading into the end of the year, you know, this last quarter of the year.
Yeah. So let's get into headline number 2. We're talking about Astra, ticker symbol ASTR, the space company. They had a failed mission with their space venture. They said they're not giving up on space though. Another one of our low key favorite stocks, GSAT, which is not necessarily the same type of space company,
right?
But they're up in the pre-market heavy. We gave them a bullish review on last week, I believe, on one of our lives, and they are up pretty good. They're up almost 40% or over 40% right now, over $2. So, pat on the back. But what's your take on Astra?
Astra took a major hit behind that failed launch,
right?
And I do believe they'll rebound. Long term. I don't think it's a short term play. They did have a run up though, I believe, prior to the launch, and something you often mention on our live streams and podcasts is you reference your strategy on how you can make money, around the news and the momentum and the catalyst.
Right.
So prior to the launch, they did have, a little run up, where you could have made some money off of it prior to the launch. I do think that they will rebound.
Okay.
Long term.
Yeah. So let's get into this other headline. We're talking about more bearish Bitcoin settlements coming from China. So the Chinese government continued its crackdown on Bitcoin with a People's Bank of China official warning that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are not legal tenders and have no actual value support. That's major. The PBOC reportedly plans to crack down on the space by blocking crypto trading websites, applications, and corporate channels. So that's major news. What's your thought? So we've been getting this China,
right,
trying to push off crypto, trying to push off Bitcoin, and a lot of news and speculation and rumors have been that because it's kind of hard to stop blockchain because it's so global.
Right.
But what they will do is try to stop the brokerage companies or the
DeFi,
the platforms where you can actually get it. They will try to shut those down. So what's your take on China versus crypto or China versus Bitcoin?
I think that we're seeing, I don't think that it's just a China thing. We, like you said, we've been saying this globally, it's just, with this narrative that as if Bitcoin is a bad thing. Contradictory to that narrative, big banks all over the globe is buying up so much of it, and even some of the biggest financial institutions and firms have started ETFs in it. So, like I told you, I'm not big on following narratives and following the news because I believe a lot of it, my personal belief, is manipulative.
Do you? It sounds like you're trying to call China's bluff. Is that
right.
what you're doing?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
It's funny because China, most people look at China as the founder or the birth of Bitcoin. So it's funny, all of a sudden that they're pushing, this particular asset out. One of the things that's interesting to me as well about China is it seems like they're excluding the rest of the world because they're leading the race in the digital asset space with the digital yuan. So it's like, they've done, what they're doing is exiting the rest of the global competition out in trade to isolate themselves to go after that number one spot.
Do you think this will have a major effect, long-term effect on the crypto space but particularly Bitcoin?
Not long term. I believe it'll have a short term effect. I feel like you said, like the blockchain and digital asset space or cryptocurrency is too big globally in our global markets for them to do long term. I believe that they like it, and like I said, that's why the narrative I'm not really buying.
Okay, so let's get into the people's champ, everybody's favorite crypto, Dogecoin, the Doge. So we got some bullish news on it, but obviously it's been trending down lately. So I'm not sure the exact price of Doge. I can look that.
It's about 28 cents.
Around 28 cents?
Yeah, so it's trending down.
Right. So
currently.
Okay, so let me read this off. Dogecoin gets more bullish support from high-profile fans. Supporter Mark Cuban, professional basketball team owner from the Dallas Mavericks, is offering $25 e-gift cards to customers who buy merchandise online with the meme cryptocurrency or other cryptocurrencies. Cuban has long backed wider Dogecoin adoption for retail transactions. So Mark Cuban is implementing more crypto purchases for his team and his, for his merchandise. And even tickets. I think he was doing something with tickets recently.
Right.
So
accepting Doge.
Right.
You can buy Dallas Maverick tickets with Dogecoin.
So what do you think about Mark Cuban's strategy specifically? I mean, you're talking about if Mark Cuban could get people to pay Doge, it's at 28 cents now, right? And they're running this promo currently. And let's say it continues to trade around 20 cents to 40 cents, right? 20 cents to 40 cents within the next 2-3 months. Let's just say that. Let's even say 1 to 2 months, right?
Right.
And then 3-6 months out, Doge rises. I know it's a lot of speculation about Doge rising to $1, but let's say it just rises to 50 cents. 60 cents, 75 cents, 80 cents. The amount of returns on that,
right.
If so many people paid with cryptocurrency, that's the thing about cryptocurrency. It's not stagnant like the dollar.
Right, or other currencies.
Right. It rises. I mean, it can go down. But obviously, Mark Cuban is super bullish on Doge and other cryptocurrencies to keep trending up. And I think long term, this may be one of the most brilliant strategies of any sports owner ever did.
I agree with that statement. By the way, Doge is currently at 27.4 cents, trending down to date. We got into Doge early this year.
Right.
Doge was at 4 cents. When we got in, it was about 4 cents.
I think I got in under a cent, to be honest.
Was it?
Yeah.
So whatever we got in, it was unbelievable.
It was under a penny.
It was unbelievable when
it was like right before it hit the penny mark.
So it was unbelievable at the price we was able to get it at.
Right.
Doge ran all the way up to about, it was plus 50 plus cents. I can't remember what the exact number. You talked about the types of returns on investment that you can get with these cryptocurrencies. This is what I love about the space versus the current currencies.
Right.
You talked about Bitcoin. In 2012, Bitcoin was less than a penny.
Right.
And it eclipsed the 60,000 mark earlier this year.
Right.
$60,000, and currently it's close to 50,000.
Right. So let me just say this: you just brought up Bitcoin. Imagine a team owner. Let's just say Mark Cuban again in 2012. You said 2012, right?
What Doge? I mean, with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It was 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
With Bitcoin started.
Yeah.
So imagine if Mark Cuban would have allowed purchases to be made with that merchandise or tickets or whatever with Bitcoin. Keep in mind the Dallas Mavericks beat the Miami Heat in the finals. So that would have skyrocketed.
The market, right? Their merch,
all that would have skyrocketed. Imagine 10 years from now. Now it being $47,000 at this current moment, the amount of returns on that would have been ridiculous, and that would have been one of the biggest chess moves of any business owner of all time.
See, Mark Cuban is a smart
man. And I'm gonna let you go. Obviously, I'm not saying Dogecoin will necessarily hit 47,000 like Bitcoin.
Right.
But
the amount of returns on investment.
Mark Cuban sees this long term.
Right.
He sees Doge. I believe he sees Doge as definitely going over $1.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So if he can get people to buy in around 25 cents for $25, $50 worth of merchandise, long term, what he received with that $25 worth of merchandise, $50 worth of merchandise, long term, it wasn't just 25. It just wasn't 50.
Right.
It becomes 75, 100, 150.
Right.
So it's a very interesting strategy.
Right. And to your point, Mark Cuban is a very intelligent man. He didn't amass the empire that he currently has by being foolish or dumb.
Right.
I think he sees the future. He knows, the impact globally that digital assets have and will have moving forward.
Right.
And so he's way ahead of the opportunity. He's seizing the opportunity, but it's another intelligent investor that we both, admire, and that's Elon Musk.
Right.
Who's championing this same coin or digital asset. What's your take? Because similar to Cuban's strategy, Elon is talking about accepting it in his space. Is it SpaceX? Yeah, his SpaceX company. So where Cuban is accepting it for merchandise and tickets, etc., still his company, right? Elon is doing it in his company through the SpaceX industry. So, what's your thoughts on Cuban? And then, as they came down, the regulators have been trying to come down on him for speaking out and manipulating the market as it relates to Dogecoin.
We talking about Elon or we talking about Mark?
I transitioned to. I'm sorry. I'm
you said Cuban. That's why. Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you for that. I transitioned to Elon. What's your thoughts on what he's doing with SpaceX and specifically his outlook on Doge?
I honestly think Elon's very interesting. And I honestly think he stands for, I don't want to act like this guy's like the people's champ, but I think he stands for the people. I really do. And I think he stands from the perspective of decentralization.
Right.
And a world that's evolved around the people and not the government systems or whatever you may say. So
centralized.
Centralized systems. So that's why I think he's doing
so much of what he's doing.
As far as EV, as far as Wi-Fi from space, the Boring Company. I think all that, when you're an entrepreneur, it's about giving value to people. We can demonize a lot of entrepreneurs for some of their decisions and how they affect the masses or avoid taxes or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, that's what an entrepreneur's goal is to do. I think Elon's doing that at a pretty high level, and I think he'll continue to do that at a pretty high level. That's why I think he backs Dogecoin. And that's why I think he did it in a kind of sly way. Shamath did it, which is an investor that has part ownership with the Warriors, he did it. He clearly stated what he did back in January and February with the meme stock movement.
Shamath?
Yes.
Okay.
When they bought Shamath bought AMC or bought one of the meme stocks. He eventually sold out of it. Yeah, because he didn't want to affect it as much. But my point is, I believe those type of people wanted to back the people. Mm-hmm. That's why Shamath endorsed the meme stocks at first. That's why Elon endorsed Doge and cryptocurrency. So I think long term, if I can get someone to pay me in Doge, and Doge is at 20 cents, if I can get someone to pay me in Cardano, and it's at
$3,
$2, and I eventually, I sell you a shirt for $10, I'm basically got 3 Cardanos. I don't even know how many Doge I got. That's some math I don't feel like doing. But over time, that 3 Cardano I got may be worth $30, $100. So I eventually got $300 off a shirt, off a $10 shirt.
And this is the power of cryptocurrency.
Right.
You know, they say that we're living in a time where this is the greatest, we'll see the greatest wealth transfer known to man. You know, crypto will create more millionaires and billionaires at an accelerated rate than we've ever seen in the history of mankind.
Right.
Right? And we have, as investors, you know, retail investors, our greatest opportunity to take advantage of something that otherwise that we have yet to see.
Right.
You know, and with this level playing field, should we educate ourselves and apply our education with our investing dollars?
Right.
This is what I love about it. The other thing that's happening, I'm throwing this at you. You see a lot of companies creating their own currency. We talked about this briefly. We talked about what Facebook is doing. You know, I believe Amazon is developing theirs. AMC talked about, you know, developing some of theirs. So I think about the Mark Cubans, but specifically Elon. So, you know, in the industries that they're in.
Right.
So Elon sees it, you know, as the currency of space.
Right.
You know, and I'll even include AI in that.
Right.
You know, but this is all value will be moved across the blockchain.
Right.
You know, so it's an amazing time. I'm excited about it. What's your thoughts on it? That these, you know, these companies creating their own currency or digital assets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think, let me say this. I think it's a new world. But I think it's more important.
It's a new age.
Right, it's a new age. Thank you. I think it's more important for people to start creating their own digital assets.
And we have the opportunity to do it.
Right. So over the weekend, Donda came out, Kanye West album, and I just thought to myself, if he sold this as a digital asset, an NFT, something like that,
and you'll do a direct video on NFTs?
I'm not sure.
Eventually?
I'm not sure if I'm doing a direct video on it yet, but I will see. If Kanye West sold that
Donda album
as an NFT for $1, let's say $10. Let's use $10 because when you used to buy albums for $9.99.
Right.
So $10. That album, the day after, could have been sold for $20, and he gets to keep his royalties off of that through the blockchain. The blockchain tracks all of that. Mm-hmm. So, because he still owns the intellectual property.
That's what I wanted you to get to.
He still owns the intellectual property, and it's backed by a digital asset. It's backed by the blockchain. Mm-hmm. So, over time, imagine how much value that Donda album have. Mm-hmm. 10 years from now, you might be able to resell it for $1,000, $10,000, and he's still reaping the rewards every time it gets sold.
Every time.
And we see the power that Kanye has with his he'll look, the Yeezy's price will be $250 a week from now, or that immediately after. Forget a week now. Immediately
right.
after,
resale price.
The resale price may be $300, $350, $450,
$3,000.
Right. So that's the power. The other day, Jake Paul fought, and he won. A thought came to me. I said, I wonder if he still has all his vlogs on his YouTube channel. If I was him, I'm not sure if he do or not. Mm-hmm. If I was him, let's say he did, right? Mm-hmm. If I was him, I would delete all of them.
From off of YouTube?
Off of YouTube.
Right.
Download it on an SD drive, and then sell each episode as an NFT.
Brilliant.
Each episode will have its own currency, its own value.
Right.
So he could sell one of those, let's say his first vlog.
Episode 1.
Yeah, episode 1. He could sell that. Nobody else has it but him, let's just say. He could sell that for $100. Mm-hmm. And eventually that can appreciate, that can keep getting resold for forever.
Right.
So then, let's say it goes to $1,000. Let's say he has a 20% royalty on it. Mm-hmm. So he keeps accumulating money off that digital asset. I think, so going back to your point, it's a lot of companies making digital assets. It's time for the people to start thinking the same way.
This is the power of the blockchain.
Make sure you own your intellectual property. Make sure you own your digital assets. Don't allow the companies to keep controlling the evolved world. You can control the evolved world as well.
Okay. Let us get into our next.
Go ahead,
you had a question, Antonio?
Yeah. So I want to go back to the Mark Cuban.
Okay.
And it seems like off this tweet that he's giving away $25 gift cards to customers who buy over 150 of merch using cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Now, by saying that, do you think he's going to make a little bit more noise than Elon Musk?
As far as being the back of Doge?
Yes.
I think Elon's set in stone. Yeah. They call him the Doge father. I think he'll remain the Doge father. Now, Mark Cuban could become Doge Corleone, Little Mikey, Michael. But I think the Godfather is the Godfather. And plus, Elon is has such an audience, such a following, and such a marketer, and has such a brand to him. When you think of Doge, you think of Elon. Mark Cuban could tweet out some things about Doge, and it may move, it may not move. When Doge was really running at its height,
it was because
Elon. But Elon would move it like that. Mm-hmm. Like literally,
every time he speaks.
If he tweeted on it or did a meme on it, it would move up drastically. Mm-hmm. So I think that's set in stone. I think every time you think of Doge, you'll think of Elon from here on out. Rather he, makes his own digital asset in the future or cryptocurrency in the future, it remains to be seen. But I still think he'll be known for backing, being one of the first major institutional entrepreneurs and corporations to back a meme coin.
Right.
A meme coin,
not
just Bitcoin, but a meme coin.
Mm-hmm. Antonio, you had Antwain, you got another question?
Yeah. So what you think about Elon and SpaceX?
I think they doing. I think a lot of people is sleeping on the potential that all his companies have, and all of them. Go ahead.
Can you briefly explain what is SpaceX to the people that don't know?
So SpaceX is
great question.
SpaceX is SpaceX is a travel company to space. Like, and what SpaceX wants to do is embrace space orbit travel and eventually colonize Mars. With that being
said,
that's
huge.
Right.
That's huge ambition and huge aspirations. I'm sorry.
So what SpaceX is doing is what we thought NASA would be.
Right. This is what I love about Elon. Go keep talking. I don't mean to cut you off.
But
I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
I've got chill bumps going down my arms and everything.
So obviously people could bash the space travel and all this stuff going on. But when you got climate change happening, when you got natural disasters like Hurricane Ida happening,
which we hadn't even addressed.
Imagine one day you wake up and Earth is literally crumbling in shambles. Mm-hmm. We may need to rely on going to orbit. So do with that as you will, but also SpaceX.
I am not looking forward to that day, by the way.
Right. Imagine being on the beach in Mars and just everything orange. Everybody got tan.
Armageddon.
Everybody got tan. Also, SpaceX is facilitating Wi-Fi from space. So they want to direct Wi-Fi for everybody. We look at Wi-Fi. We're in the city. It's easy for us to get Wi-Fi. When you got these real country, rural spots in the world, when you got these deserts and low income lands in the world,
underdeveloped populations,
right? Underdeveloped populations. They don't have the same access. So what he's doing is sending satellites up to space and project and giving the whole. He's trying to give the whole world Wi-Fi. Facebook was not going to space, but Facebook was trying to build a belt line for Africa.
Yep.
To provide Africa all the Wi-Fi.
The bandwidth for the Wi-Fi to run on.
Right. So again, undeveloped parts of the world can freely become developed. Freely start to communicate with more of the world.
Right.
Start to evolve and
compete in a global economy.
Compete in a global marketplace. So that is the maybe even the skinny of SpaceX, to be honest with you.
That's a thorough assessment, very intelligent. I like the way you broke that down, and the insight you're giving to the listening viewers.
Yeah. So let me give down a quick rundown. It's 9:22 in the market right now. Let's go to it's the stock called BBIG. It's Vinco Ventures Inc., I believe. They're up $3.44 in the pre-market. They are 65% up in the pre-market. I don't know what Antonio saw last night. I have to give him his props. But he sent me this stock and said he thinking about getting in it, playing it for a short squeeze.
What industry you say they was in?
BBIG.
Go, keep talking. I'm going to look it
It's
up.
Vinco Ventures Inc. if y'all can like get any news on that.
BBIG.
But BBIG. But
Okay, good, I'm
Antonio hit me up like late last night.
Man, they up $3.49.
Right.
65%, almost 66% in the pre-market.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
So I think they're currently experiencing one of our favorite things in the marketplace, which is the short squeeze.
And they just had their earnings call.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
So they up. I don't know enough about that stock, but they're killing it. AMC is up $1.07, 2.60%. So AMC getting off to a nice day so far. Let's go to Virgin Galactic, ticker symbol SPCE. They're up 11 cents, 26.16 on the pre-market so far. Well, that's that share price so far. Let's get into Palantir, PLTR. They are 25.75. So they're up 4 cents in the pre-market. Looks like Palantir is just slowly going up on an uptrend. Let's see where GSAT is at. GSAT is up. Oh my God.
It's running.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Are you still in GSAT?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Look, cheers for you, tear for me. We've been looking at GSAT for a while.
Yeah.
Like I said, we endorsed it last week. If this is the reason why
what did we? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. This is the reason why you look into what we're talking about. Because GSAT literally could have made a lot of people a lot of money just off of pre-market.
Right.
Just off of pre-market. The market hasn't even opened. They're up almost $1 on the day. They were around like 130, 140 when we mentioned them.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently at 237.
Wow.
So they're up 65%.
So just give a brief recap on what GSAT is and why we're bullish on it and why we endorsed it last week.
Yeah. So
what industry is it in?
Right. So GSAT is another. I'm sorry. GSAT,
like space.
Right. GSAT is another space type company. It's not really rocket ships. It's more so satellites, infrastructure of space.
Right.
So that's what they stand for. It offers voice and data communication services to the following markets: recreational and personal, government, public, safety and disaster relief, oil, gas, all that good stuff. And they are currently a big satellite service company. So with that being said, this is the importance of looking into what we're actually saying. Don't just
do your own due diligence. Thank you.
Right, do your own due diligence. This is not financial advice. If you're watching this, like, comment, and subscribe, please. But we just talked about this stock a week and a half ago, and it looked like it's on the rise.
It was another stock that you mentioned I wanted to give you your props on, and it had a run. I can't remember what it is. Like over the weekend. It was something, one of your picks was doing really well. I looked at over the weekend. So it must have had to run on Friday. Either yesterday or either Friday, because in other parts of the country, their markets open at different times than ours. So it was either yesterday or Friday, and I meant to give you your props. Antoine, you had a question? I'm sorry.
Yes. Shout out to Antonio, because when the market opens in about 4 minutes, BBIG is looking crazy. I see a lot of squeezes happening today.
Yeah.
A lot of squeezes.
By the way, that BBIG is competing for market share with us, Newage. They're a digital media company.
Okay.
So we're going to pay close attention to what they're doing. Now they have a broader, we're not, of course, the exact same, but just from the media space, we're competing for market share.
So I'm glad you got something to say?
They number one on the charts right now.
Yeah. No. I mean, no, they are.
Right.
A lot of FOMO is about to hit BBIG. I'm gonna play safe. I'm gonna play out of it. I'm on the sideline. I'm gonna watch it.
We're gonna watch it. Yeah, we're just gonna watch it. They had a good run.
Right.
Go ahead.
So with that being said, though, I'm glad you brought up short squeeze, because it's a lot of short squeezes happening, and I really think if you're a if I was a new investor, look into the short interest on the stocks you're looking at. Because if you can get this is why I'm looking at ATNF. If you can get a catalyst to move the stock up in your favor with heavy short interest, it could go and your stock can blow overnight.
It's funny you mentioned that.
A lot of margin calls are happening. A lot of short squeezes.
I was going to ask you what you attributed to.
It's a new market. I feel like a new market because of what's happening with GME and AMC.
I'm going to bring up AMC.
Yeah, a lot of these other stocks that's really getting shorted heavily. It's another one, support.com Inc. We was just talking about
SPRT.
Yeah, we was just talking about it like Thursday, Friday. They've been having a huge run up. It's a lot of margin calls and short squeezes happening.
So AMC, it's funny. I was looking at them over the weekend and looking at some of the trend. You know, you do realize we've had a form of a squeeze in January, which is the first quarter. We had another squeeze in June, which is the second quarter. We're now in the third quarter, transitioning, you know, September being the last month of the quarter. So we're due for another squeeze in AMC.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I meant to talk to you about that. And some of the news that I got indicates that it's a high possibility that that we're going to see another one in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and to me,
and specifically AMC. Being
in AMC all this time now, I feel as though August was May. A run up to a potential squeeze, and then June is squeezed. I believe September is June. So I feel as though the momentum there, the volume's there, and we're gonna see how it plays out. I don't wanna, how can I say this? I feel as though AMC gets talked about so much that I don't want to, you know, drown it out and keep talking about AMC.
And make people numb to it.
Yeah.
When it's really a huge opportunity.
Right. It really is. You get what I'm saying?
But it can become daunting. I see. I understand where you're at. It can become daunting if you're a listening viewer and don't have a lot of understanding of how that the mechanics of the squeeze is playing out. Right. I want to give one last rundown in the crypto markets. Okay. What's happening in the crypto markets? Bitcoin is currently down 1.64%. Ethereum follows at 0.76%. XRP, which is my favorite, is down 1.72%. Cardano down 3.84%, and Doge is currently down 2.48%. So the entire market looks red in the crypto space as I'm going through the various currencies and assets. However, that just means to me a good buying opportunity.
Yeah, I feel as though crypto is having a huge push up. I mean, even though it's a red day, I feel like it's
still up over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Almost similar to what we said about AMC, but it's just like May, it was a run up. June, it was an influx. I feel like that's happening for crypto. Like, I'm not sure how it correlates with the months in the past, but what I'm saying is it's having its climb up, and then the wave comes. Right. And the wave hasn't hit yet. I feel as though crypto is about to have a huge run. I'm ready for this. And honestly, ever since I've been in the stock market, and as the days, weeks, and months have came on, a lot of people have predicted, and a lot of things that I've seen is really bullish around Q3, Q4.
Right. For the crypto space?
Yes. Yep. Fall, winter time, crypto is going to have a huge run.
That's historically. Over the years, it's been, when crypto's had its bull run, it's always been in that last quarter that you just mentioned.
Oh, really?
Yep. Wow. Always. That's his historic trend.
And now that you say that, that's when Bitcoin ran last year, right? Last year. So It's interesting. So we appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you, Antwain. This is Datwan.
Absolutely.
This is LJ. We out. Welcome to the New Age.
New Age.